All right, so you are a coach, consultant, maybe some sort of a course provider, and you are ultimately trying to use ads to grow your coaching offer or grow your high-ticket offer this year in 2026. If that's the case, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to be diving into a couple different ad strategies that are working really, really well for selling high-ticket services this year, and ultimately just go through a couple different pros and cons of each one, what you should be aware of as you dive into this space, because ultimately, you're here because you're trying to create more predictable client acquisition systems. It is no fun to continue to rely on word of mouth, referrals, or just kind of one-off leads here and there. So let's talk about how to add some predictability, shall we? Let's go ahead and dive on in. Okay, so let's talk about ads real quick, just like high-level view. When you're running ads, at the end of the day, all they can do is provide traffic. So whenever you're pressing publish on your ad campaign, the only thing you can guarantee you're likely to get is clicks, okay? And clicks does not necessarily mean clients. Clicks don't mean customers. Clicks don't mean conversions. That's literally all it is traffic. And you're providing traffic into a funnel or into a sales process that is hopefully going to convert those clicks and turn them into clients. Many people, when they first try to, turn on ads, they will usually say, you know what has been working really well in my business is taking, maybe some Zoom calls, some one-on-one Zoom calls or consults to try to convert these leads into clients. And ultimately, that works really, really well when you do have hot referrals or, people that have been following you on social media for quite a while. And that's ultimately where you're probably at right now in your business. You've probably been doing a lot of one-on-one Zoom consults, and you've had a lot of the people that have been talking to you, while maybe inconsistent, they're probably converting very predictably. And most people's mindset when they are in that zone right now is like, well, I just need more calls on the calendar. I just need more consults. And so technically what has been working is when someone reaches out, I say, great, go to this page. Maybe they watch a quick little video of you. They book a call on your Calendly link, and great. Then you conduct that call. You typically have 100% show rate. And then, you're going to convert maybe 20, 30, 40% of those people into clients, which is great. Honestly, that's awesome. However, what got you here is not always going to be what gets you there. Now, there is going to be different for every single person watching this video. Some of you guys, your goal is to simply consistently make 10 grand a month. Some of it's 50 grand a month. Some of you guys are at 100 grand a month. Some of you guys are trying to scale to 500, maybe even $1 million a month. Okay, it doesn't matter what your goal is. We all have to understand the principle that what got us here is not always going to be what gets us there. And so when we talk about, I would say, sales processes and ad systems, if we're going to run ads to have strangers click on that ad and then go into your sales process, we really want to make sure that our sales process is dialed in and likely to convert those clicks into clients. And so if you just try to take that existing mechanism, which is just like literally having strangers book a call with you, that's great and dandy and all, but call it what it is. Even though you're awesome and even though you're special, most strangers don't really want to just go book a call with you for no reason. They're not scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram in their 5 minutes they get off, in between their two meetings that day, or maybe their 30 minutes during a lunch break. They're not scrolling on Instagram so that they can find a random service provider to go book a call with. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind when you're running ads. You want to make sure that you're meeting these people where they're at. And they might be in pain. They might need your solution, but they're probably not quite ready to book a call with you. So what do we do with that information? If we know that we need more people to book calls with us, but we think, or quite honestly, we know that most of these strangers don't want to book calls with us, how do we get their interest high enough and their trust high enough so they not only book a call, but they're also likely to show up and also likely to convert? That's what we can start to talk about today. Now, there are three, I would say, core sales processes that a lot of coaches, consultants, experts are using right now with their ads. And let's just go ahead and kind of walk through all three of them. The first one is going to be your standard call booking funnel. That's what I was just kind of mentioning. And there's pros and cons to it. Once again, pros, it is going to be efficient in terms of it's very easy to set up. This is when you have an ad and you go straight to a page. It's usually like a call booking page. There might be a quick little headline, maybe a video, followed by a little calendar embed option. And that, once again, it can work very well if you have a very simple thing to sell, or maybe you have a very hot audience that's going to that page. They're already kind of primed and they're ready and they already know who you are. Maybe it's a retargeting style ad. That totally works. If you're sending cold traffic to a page like that for a call booking funnel, you're really going to want to make sure that all of your back-end selling systems are dialed in. What I mean by that is you're going to want to make sure that you probably have some content ad strategies retargeting all of these people after they opt in or after they book a call. You're going to want to make sure that a bunch of content gets funneled their way from day one. And maybe you simply put, 20, 30, 40 videos, short form videos, long form videos in front of their eyes within the next 72 hours before they actually conduct the call or show up for the call that they have scheduled with you. On top of that, you could also have a bunch of email follow-ups and maybe even some SMS follow-ups. Maybe you could even have a setter call them and maybe triage them really quick before the official call is scheduled. All of these things will be a lot of touch points that you can add into the funnel to add more trust and add more buy-in, increase their urgency, increase their interest, to ultimately increase the likelihood they show up for the call and also increase the likelihood that they close during that call. So that is an option. Once again, it can totally work, and I know some people that are using them very well. However, I don't know a lot of people that are solely using those to try to crack, call it $1 million months, or maybe even higher than that. Even honestly, if you're trying to hit like $500,000 a month, that strategy is good for a little bit of baseline performance, but that's typically not going to get you massive paydays, because ultimately what that's going to do, it's going to set you up for a one-on-one selling environment all day long, which is fine, right? Especially with your current level of knowledge, there's not a problem in that in and of itself. However, when you're selling one-on-one, you are limited based on your calendar availability. So at max, let's just say that everyone is showing up for these calls. Let's say that you have 45-minute time slots available or maybe hour-long time slots available, and you've got a time slot at the beginning of each hour, and you're personally willing to take calls for, 8 hours a day for 6 days a week. That's great, but that means that at max, you have 48 sales opportunities that you could take throughout the entire week. And that's if you don't have anyone no-show you. That's also if you don't have any other, miscellaneous meetings you have to take, meetings with your team, or, simply taking a break and going to the bathroom, or simply taking a break and having lunch. Your calendar availability will be the reason why your business will not be able to continue to scale. You want to make sure that your calendar is not the bottleneck to be able to create more scale or create more sales opportunities for yourself. So what that could look like is you could then go build a sales team, which, if you know anything about, is a long and arduous process. It's painstaking, it's expensive, and it's just going to test your patience in every way, shape, and form. I'm personally going through that, and it can be extremely rewarding once it's all built out, but it is, it'll make a man out of you for sure, or a woman out of you for sure. It's going to take a little while. And a lot of people that are watching this, you probably don't want to necessarily go build up a huge sales team. In that case, your calendar availability is once again going to come back to the bottleneck. And so what do you do in that case? In that case, you typically are going to want to convert to maybe more of a one-to-many environment where you're personally giving one presentation and having more than one person can take you up on your offer during that presentation. So that's going to take us from a call booking funnel into the second iteration of ads and sales processes is webinars. So webinars are great ultimately at being able to get more trust invoked. You're able to get a lot more people to say, yeah, you know what? I might not want to book a call with this random stranger that's running ads to me. However, I would be open to signing up for their presentation and seeing what they're all about. They're going to be very curious, very skeptical though, and they hopefully will show up for your webinar. Typically though, when you're running webinars, if you've had any degree of experience with this, you could probably vouch for me to let me know in the comments. Typically show rates on webinars are going to be around 18, maybe 22%, and maybe 30, 35% if you are absolutely killing it and maybe you're only promoting your webinar over the course of, a 2 or 3 day promo period right before the webinar starts. But if you're really trying to run ads for, call it, more than a week, and you're having all of those people run into a live webinar, good luck on having anything more than maybe a 22% show rate. And so in that case, it's tough because, you get all excited. You put all of this work into preparing this incredible webinar presentation where you're going to try to go deliver a lot of value, shift a lot of meaningful beliefs, and really get these people ready and primed to hear your offer after the course of, call it a 45, maybe a 90-minute presentation. Once again, great and all. However, you see that, hey, you got, 100 people signed up for your presentation, and that's amazing. You get all set up at your desk. You You get your teleprompter out, you get your camera out, you're ready to go, and you got your slide decks ready. You've already done the run through with your team and everything. You're ready to go. And then all of a sudden, right before the webinar starts, instead of seeing 100 people in the waiting room, you see like 12. You're like, no, hold on. Like, guys, can we please check the automations? Can we make sure that all of the reminders to attend went out? And, you've got your right-hand person, maybe your assistant, your VA. They go through and they're like, yeah, no. Like, everything got sent out, 100% deliverability, 99% deliverability. Like, people will be here eventually. And so you say, okay, cool. Well, whatever, we got to go live. And so then you say, okay, go live. You start the webinar. And then you're kind of sitting there awkwardly. You're like, okay, well, we only have 20 people in this presentation right now. Okay, guys, we're going to, wait, hang out. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from right now. And you're going to try to in a nervous, anxious way, try to kill time because surely more people are going to jump on that webinar, correct? Unfortunately not. And you will find that out within 5 to 10 minutes. You've already stalled enough time. You've already wasted all of the other, call it 20, 25 people maybe that are on the presentation. You've already wasted 5 to 10 minutes of their time talking small talk, seeing where they're all from. And ultimately, no one else is jumping on this presentation. And if anything, you're actually losing trust and losing their attention by not just getting started. It's a deflating process, but you go ahead and you go through the rest of the webinar. Maybe once again, it could be a 45-minute webinar, maybe a 90-minute webinar. And you go through and you just kind of forget about the fact that you don't love the show rate, but hey, you are here, you're ready to go. Once again, you put a lot of work into this presentation, so let's really maximize it, right? You go through the whole thing, you're seeing some engagement in the comments, that's all great and dandy. And then you get to the good old offer. You present your offer, whether it's to book a call with you, whether it's to go direct to the checkout and buy maybe a couple $1,000 offer. And ultimately, it's like crickets. Like no one buys. It is so deflating to have 100 people sign up for this thing. And then 15, maybe 20, 25 people max actually show up and shoot by the time you actually give your offer 45 to 90 minutes later. Honestly, you've probably had some people drop off. And so now you're maybe looking at, I don't know, 10 to 15 people that are even hearing your offer. So you give it, and once again, maybe one person buys it. And you're like, that was so much work and so much money for absolutely nothing in return. Like it's just deflating. I don't know how else to describe it. Now, you can sit there and try to get better at your webinar delivery, and you could try to analyze how to make your offer better. But technically speaking, you don't even have enough data on, hey, did the webinar convert right? Because, hey, if you only had 100 people, 100 people sign up for the presentation, and once again, maybe 10 people at this point are even hearing your offer could have actually been incredible. And you just don't have enough people that heard your offer to know whether or not it was likely to convert or not. You need a little bit more data. So then it's is your marketer just going to sit there and tell you to continue rerunning this thing every single week for the next 3 months, or who knows, the next 20 weeks in a row before you actually decide whether this is going to work for you or not? You don't have that much time on your hands. You've got to learn faster, and you've got to be able to get more sales in faster. So that is going to ultimately break us down or take us down into the third route, which is how do you do a one-to-many presentation like this, right? Because it is saving you a lot of time. It's much more exponential in nature, but we need more people to show up and we need more people to convert. So that can now take us to the third kind of sales process, and biasly, but also unbiasedly, like I'm just seeing the data. This third one is working the absolute best in 2026 right now. Paid virtual events. I like to call them simply paid events. I do run paidevents.com. Some other people call them paid challenges. Some people call them paid boot camps. Technically speaking, I do own them all. Paidbootcamps.com, paidchallenges.com, paidevents.com. I own them all. And the reason why is because they are all very, very similar. It's really taking the concept of the webinar and expanding it out. And instead of trying to force this know, like, and trust factor in a quick I'd say, let's just generically call it a 1 hour presentation. Instead of a quick 1 hour presentation, you actually get to elaborate and actually build more know, like, and trust factor over the course of a couple days. You go live for maybe 1 or 2 hours a day for maybe that's 2 days at first. Maybe whenever you start to get a little bit better and you start to understand how to better shift beliefs, maybe you make it a 3-day, maybe you make it a 5-day over time. And once again, you're personally only spending 1 or 2 hours a day. And so shoot over the course of, call it 2 days. If you did 2-hour presentations, it's only 4 hours of your time. However, think about it like this. If you could really shift some very, very strong beliefs in the beginning of day one. You go out and, after day one is all over, you go out with your spouse or your significant other, and you're maybe at happy hour that night, or maybe you're grabbing a nice dinner that evening, and you're totally unfazed and unbothered by the presentation you gave earlier that day. However, you have 100 people, or maybe you're 50 people, or who knows, 500 people that watch that presentation, and they are sitting here literally losing sleep over the way of which you just shifted their mindset. You shifted new things for them. You opened up new realities for them, and they can't get that presentation off their mind, and some potential ways that they can go in the future, and they're starting to see their desire, that kind of pipeline dream, or that pipe dream out in the future. They're seeing that as something that seems quite a bit more achievable after day one was all over. You really helped them unpack a lot of things. And so now they're literally thinking about you or your presentation for almost 24 hours straight before you now go live into day two. So you show up into day two. Once again, you're now going live for your third and fourth hour. However, they feel as if they've spent the last 24 hours with you in their brain. That's the difference between a quick one-day presentation and a multi-day presentation, because you actually get through that, like, almost the inevitable, like, I need to think about it objection or phrase that you'll hear from a lot of people, that, they're not a hard no, but they're definitely not a hard yes. They just feel like things have moved so fast if it's a quick 1 hour presentation. But when they feel as if they've literally been thinking about this for the last 24 hours, or shoot, especially if you do a 3-day presentation, it could feel like it's been 72 hours that you've been hanging out in their brains. They're ready to go. They feel like they have a much higher kind of know, like, and trust factor with you. They actually feel like there's a relationship with you. They feel like there's momentum going on. So they want to continue the process of working with you after the event's over, which, if you're kind of reading through the lines here, you don't actually have to be the best pitch person in the world to be able to get these things to convert, because you're actually, call it what it is, building relationships with these strangers. Crazy that we're in 2026 and we're talking about the power of human connection and being real and being authentic. But that's what this is, really, that's what this is all about, is showing people who you are, showing people that you could actually help them by actually helping them. You're really unlocking some new ways of thinking and some new ways of operating for them. Additionally, these are paid events. These are paid to attend. I like to do roughly $7 or $9 tickets. And the reason why we like to do $7 to $9 tickets, we've talked about this in other videos, but ultimately it's just about a cost of acquisition. So we've tested out technically speaking, we've tested out free. We've tested out $1, $7, $9, $11, $17, $27, $37, $47, $77, $97, $147, $197, $247, and $297. We've tested out events and ticket prices at all of those price points. And what we have found is that single-digit price points convert the absolute best from in just a pure economic standpoint. So, for example, if you were to have a free event or a free webinar that you're having people sign up for, you, technically speaking, you might have a $10 cost per sign up, which is really good, okay? However, if you have a 20% show rate, what that means is that ultimately you're going to pay $50 on average to get someone to simply show up for your event or show up for your presentation. So $50 per person in the room. And that's if you have a 20% show rate. And then that's, with the case of free, these people are, technically speaking, we have to call what it is. They are window shoppers. They are skeptical, actually extremely skeptical, and they aren't quite ready to do business with you. And typically, if they are free, or they're there for free, they're usually trying to, call it what it is, get the information that they need so that they don't have to hire you. They're typically, like, usually people will structure these presentations in a way of like, hey, come pay this or come sign up and you're going to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you're usually structuring it as, or framing it like it's going to be this great educational event, which hopefully it should be educational, but they are usually coming with the hope that they're not going to have to continue to pay you, or really hope that they don't have to pay you at all if they haven't paid you yet. And so that's usually the thought process that those free registrants have. So now you're paying $50 to get someone to join a room that literally doesn't want to pay you anything and it is hoping that they're not going to ever have to pay you or ever have to open up another one of your emails. And yes, now that brings us into email marketing, which is a whole nother can of worms that we should probably unpack in a different video. But when you're doing free events, you're literally building up your email list, which is great. However, you're building it up with freebie seekers, window shoppers, tire kickers, which typically that's going to have a very low open rate on your email marketing. It's going to have a very low click-through rate on your email marketing. It's going to be a very low quality prospect on a lot of those emails, which is frustrating because obviously you're paying for all of that with your ad spend. So anyway, then when you give your pitch and, maybe you only have 1 or 2% of those people convert, all of a sudden your cost of acquisition is going through the roof. Now, if you charge simply $1, we've tested this out, $1, usually just by having people pay you just by having people give you the good old 16-digit credit card number, you typically have about a 50 to a 75% show rate. When you have that, all of a sudden the economics go significantly more in your favor. So because it's such a cheap ticket price, you don't have to pay a lot in ads to get someone to say, you know what, I'll give this person a shot. Because you're not asking for $100, for example. You're asking for $1. You're asking for $7. You're asking for $9. So there's still some sort of a perceived value to it of like, well, if they're charging, it must be at least halfway decent. It must be better than your typical fluffy hour-long webinar, which is really just a sales pitch in disguise. So, hey, I'm going to pay a little bit of money, $1, $7, etc., to attend this event for a couple days so they have a little bit more hope. Now they're coming in as a buyer, so you're building up your entire email list with customers now. This is not a freebie seeking list. This is literally a customer list. And so you might have a little bit less people sign up for your presentation in this case. However, the people that do sign up will show up once again at a 50 to 75% show rate. And so in that case, let's say that you spend, $30 to have someone buy a $1 ticket or a $7 ticket. We see people, we have a whole suite of clients that do these events on a regular basis. We see some people get them down to a $20 cost of acquisition. Some people pay upwards of maybe $150 cost of acquisition. But because the show rate is so much higher, your cost to have someone actually show up, the net cost is not much more at all. Sometimes it's even better than a free presentation. So obviously, easy math on this one, let's say that you're paying $25 to have someone buy a ticket. Okay, now you're actually liquidating some of that $25 back because maybe they buy a $7 ticket. Now you're only paying $18. Okay, but let's just say your gross cost or even your net cost, let's say it was $25. And if you have a 50% show rate, now your cost to get someone in the room is the exact same. It's just $50. However, that person is much better quality. They are much more likely to want to do business with you because not just the environment's going to be different, they do spend a few more days with you, but also they've paid you. So now you're not giving an offer at the end. You're not trying to have a freebie seeking lead. You're not trying to pitch them on a $5,000 or $10,000 service and go from zero up to literally a 4 or 5 figure investment out of nowhere. Instead, you're just giving an offer to an existing customer to continue to work with you. It's just a different it's a different selling environment. It's a different customer journey or client journey, and it's quite a bit more natural, both for you and for them. And when you build up that know, like, and trust factor, these people have already paid you. They're showing up at a higher rate. You don't feel like it's, some sales pitch in disguise because it's quite literally not. You're actually giving some real value. It's just a better process for just about everyone. Once again, this is assuming at least that you are a real expert. This is assuming that you can actually sit here and yap for whether it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, etc., without losing content or without having to read from a script. If you're the type of person that you have to read from a script, if you're the type of person that needs to have everything perfected and it needs to be this perfect ChatGPT, script, call it what it is, this is not going to be good for you. If you're the type of person that you feel like you have to look perfect on camera, that you are afraid if you have a pimple one day, or you're afraid of if you're having a bad hair day, or if you're afraid that you have to have the best camera equipment in the world, this is not a good fit for you. Why do I say that? It's because people right now in 2026 need real. That is the one thing that we are losing very quickly, is just simply real people. AI is getting really, really, really good. It's getting really, really hard to decipher whether someone is who they say they are or if they are reading off a script. It's getting really, really hard to decipher when you're watching short form videos on Instagram if that video was real or if it was an AI video. And the way to be able to show people that you are real is just by simply being you and being authentic and hanging out with them for a couple days. It's okay if you stumble over your words. It's okay if you look a little silly. It's okay if you make a couple mistakes. Honestly, it's probably better if you do, because people will know that you are being real, and your trust with them and that relationship with them is going to go so much higher. People don't want perfect. They want real. Okay, so that's honestly, like, it's one of the best ways to build up that trust at a scalable rate. And ultimately, that's what we're up against right now. We're in this, trust recession. It's probably not the first time I've ever said it on this channel. It's probably not the first time you've ever said it, that you've ever heard it said, that we're in a trust recession. But boy, is it real. And I'm trying to help you understand not just why it's such a big deal, but also how to actually build the trust, how to actually get through all of the barriers to entry that we have in this market right now. So anyway, that's the general sales process that works really, really well. Now, let me tell you a few nuances, because technically speaking, I said at the very beginning of this video, this is all about an ad strategy, and all we've talked about is sales processes. The reason why we talked sales processes is because ad strategies, at the end of the day, just give you clicks, and clicks don't give you money. Clicks don't give you clients, not predictably, at least. We have to talk sales process first. But now we understand sales process, let's talk some of those nuances. Okay, you might be wondering, what sort of a price point can you sell during your event? We've seen people sell, I wouldn't even try this if you're not selling your services for at least a couple grand. If you're not selling something for at least $2,000 or $3,000, I wouldn't even bother with this. If your price point is like a couple $100, I guess do a webinar. But honestly, if it's a couple $100, like what a weird price point, because if you're truly someone that knows how to impact someone's life or knows how to impact someone's business, what investment has someone ever made that's only a couple $100 that has truly just changed their life? Very rarely. I don't want to sit here and say that you have to just like charge thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just so someone will take you seriously. But honestly, that's kind of where we're at. When someone will happily go drop $200 out on a dinner, and you're over here saying that, it's only $300 or $400 to work with you, and you're going to just be able to entirely change the way they think and change the way that they're able to operate in their business. Is that the same value as that dinner? Absolutely not. You should be charging something that kind of makes people flinch a little bit. It makes people a little bit more uncomfortable, because when you charge more, when you charge premium prices, people take you so much more seriously. And when they take you more seriously, your course consumption rates will go way up. Your call attendance rates on your coaching calls will go way up. The likelihood that they actually put into practice what your coaching is structured on is much higher. And that is going to be how you actually get your testimonials and your case studies and show people that it's almost this like it's a hamster wheel or a flywheel, that once you get customers, you have to actually have them take the work seriously and actually put it into practice and do the dirty work and actually get their hands dirty and do what it is that you're telling them to do. And then when they do, wow, now they're actually getting great results. And when they get great results, then you could get not customers, you get testimonials and you can get case studies. Then they also start to give you referrals. And then all of that stuff, it's a flywheel to get more customers and more clients. And it continues to self-propel itself. However, if you're not charging a high enough price point for your services, or I would say an appropriate price point for your services, you are kind of going to get bottlenecked right over here. So you get some customers and they're all excited and they get the dopamine hit of doing that transaction with you. And then all of a sudden, you now have all these customers, but not a single person logs in, or not a single person shows up to your coaching calls. And now they all start canceling services, or maybe they all start asking for refunds because they're not actually using it. And now you had all these people right on the cusp of being able to help them. And now you don't get any of them results. You don't get any referrals from them. You don't get any case studies from them. And it makes your customer acquisition way harder, which might be why you're watching this video. It might actually be why you're watching this video, because you came here wanting more customers, and you have actually, if you're being really, really honest, you could look back and you realize, wow, yeah, I actually haven't had a hard time getting customers originally. It's just been really, really hard to get them incredible results because it seems like no one wants to take it seriously. If that's you, raise your prices. That was kind of a You came here for one thing, but you got something totally different. Now, another thing is that you might be wondering, like, hey, I charge like multiple 5 figures. Can that actually work on this like sort of event-based sales process? And it absolutely can. We've sold all the way up to $30,000 offers during virtual events that people literally paid $7 to attend, and that converted with no problem. The first time we actually did that, we cracked, it was a multi-6-figure payday for a client. Now, I obviously cannot sit here and promise that you're going to do that. I have no idea if you withhold any ability to go make more money. I don't know if you're even in business. I don't know if you're an entrepreneur or if you are a student in college. I have no idea who you are, so I'm not making any sort of income claims. I'm just telling you these are lessons that we have learned from real events that we have done with real clients. And shoot, admittedly, like I personally have done an event where I sold $15,000 offers direct to checkout. I'm talking skipped calls. There was not a single sales call offered. There was not a single discovery call offered. There was not a single application or anything. It was literally, you heard the pitch. I said it was 15 grand, and I essentially said buy or die. I literally said go here. You're going to pay. There's no payment plan offered. You're going to have to buck up if you can't afford 15 grand. It's not a good fit for you. And we had people buy. It wasn't a crazy great conversion rate, as you can imagine. I actually unpack that in a different video that we actually recently posted. But it literally works. And seriously, that was like 15 grand or nothing. There was no payment plan offered at all. And that even converted within a 2-day presentation from people that paid $1 to attend. So I'm telling you, this can work. And that was not coming from that was not like my 10th event or my 100th event. I didn't have a ton of experience behind my sales or my sales belt whenever I tried that out. That was, technically speaking, my first ever virtual event. I did that just to see if it would work, and it did. Now, once again, there are always ways to make it more efficient, and I would highly encourage you subscribe, or maybe you even want to work with us if you want to learn a little bit more about how to make it more efficient or how to really convert from a stage and sell well from a stage, because that's like really what we focus on at this point. Seriously, it can work whether you're selling a $2,000 offer or a $30,000 offer. And then the next question you might be asking is like, okay, what does the actual ad process look like? That is, at the end of the day, what you came here for. So let's chat about it. So ad process is super, super simple. If you want kind of the screen recording overview and everything, we're not going to do that in YouTube. That's what my paid content's for. If you want that, obviously go to paidevents.com, book a call with us, speak with our team, see if this makes sense for you. And obviously that's where, once again, our private clients get access to that sort of information. But it's real, real simple. Do a CBO, so a campaign budget optimization. It's up to you on what you want to spend on ads. Typically, we say spend 5 to 10 grand on your first event if you really want to test this out on a small scale. We've had other people, they say, yeah, we're ready to rip 40 grand, or technically the highest we've ever spent on someone's first ever event. They said, yeah, we've got about a $100,000 test budget. Great, you could do that, but you're still only going to do one campaign. And then from that one campaign, you typically have one ad set. At least this is kind of what we're seeing work really, really well with the latest versions of Facebook ads. Now, obviously, at the time of recording this is March of 2026. If you're watching this in April of 2026, everything might break and totally change. We'll see. But that's why we have people that are literally internally hired full-time on our team to crack Facebook. Like, that's the only thing they even are focused on is Facebook ad buying to run ads for ourselves and for our own events, as well as coach all of our clients on what we're learning. So we stay up to date on all of that. But right now, it's one campaign with one ad set. And ad set, that's obviously where you set up your targeting. Typically, we go very broad targeting. Obviously, if you specifically only target females or only target males, you can make some sort of a exclusion like that if you need to. But typically, you're going to go pretty broad targeting, and you're going to be very, very specific with all of your ad videos. We do use ad videos, and typically we recommend starting with at least 10 videos. Typically, when I say videos, I'm talking selfie style. I'm talking, good old pull the old iPhone out, right? Almost every single person has one. They're great recording devices. You pull it out, pop it open, selfie video mode. You don't need some crazy camera. You don't need some sort of a crazy microphone, even, as long as you're in a distraction-free, noise-free environment. You pop that out, you start recording, you say, hey, if you're this type of person and you're dealing with X, Y, and Z, and you're tired of, A, B, and C, I've got good news and bad news for you. Bad news is if you keep doing it like that, you're going to be feeling like you're beating your head against a wall. Good news is if you'd like some help, we have a virtual event we're about to be hosting, and we're going to talk about this this, this, and this. And if you'd like help with all of those things, would highly encourage you, go get your ticket today. Tickets are a whopping $7. We'll see you at the event. On the next page, you could grab all the information you need. So much love and God bless. And, you put out the old phone and that's about it. And ideally, you have like 10 different videos like that. Usually you want, I would say, for each reason someone might buy your event or each reason why someone might buy your service, you would have a different video that kind of speaks to each of those specific reasons. So maybe you simply write out every single pain point that they're all up against or every single reason why they feel like they haven't been able to have success or have breakthrough in the area of their life or business that they want that you help them with. So you write out all of those specific reasons that might attract them, and then you just make one specific video for each of those and ultimately end with kind of the same call to action, which is go buy a ticket. And then you send them straight to a sales page that literally sells them that, one ticket. That's it. It's really just a virtual ticket. So there's not a ton of complexity there. We will have another video on this channel here soon talking about the tech stack involved as well as the hardware stack involved if you want to do virtual events. But it's very, very, very simple. Usually we just use Go High Level. You have, one simple sales page. Then from there, they go straight to a checkout page. They buy their ticket, and then maybe you zap that information on straight on over to Zoom to auto-register them for the multi-day webinar. I call it a webinar because that's what Zoom calls them. But a multi-day event, you zap that information back on over to Zoom. Zoom auto-registers them for it, which will actually then automatically put the event on their calendar, which is going to boom increase that show rate because we typically live and die by the calendar. There you go. You show up for your event, you deliver some awesome presentations, you have a lot of fun, and you give people an offer to continue working with you after it's all over. Obviously, there are so many other complexities we can dive into. If you have questions, I would highly encourage you, please drop questions below in the comments. I personally read and respond to every single comment on this channel, and I would be more than happy to continue to record more videos and help you guys out with whatever those questions are, depending on how nuanced they are. Obviously, if you have even, I would say, more specific questions that are unique to your specific situation, just book a call with us. Go to paidevents.com. Myself or someone from my team would be more than happy to walk through really what this could actually look like in your specific business. We could even kind of drum up an idea for what a virtual event could actually look like, what maybe a name would be or a theme of the event would be, and how long should yours be. Obviously, once again, there are some nuances there. So if you'd like some help with that, everything from planning the event all the way to how do you actually drive ticket sales? How do you fill up the room? We've sold upwards of 15,000 tickets for a single virtual event before. So if you need help, obviously, from designing the event to filling up the event to even converting on stage or converting into one-to-many fashion, that's what we're here for. And then after you go host that event, you rehost it. It's crazy. We like to repeat successful actions around here. So then you rehost it usually on about a monthly cadence, maybe quarterly cadence if you like to operate a little bit slower. And yeah, then you can use that as a predictable customer acquisition system, I would say forevermore. But at some point, obviously, you'll probably want to make some changes. So that's what it looks like to work with us. And obviously, you don't have to work with us if you just want to continue engaging in free content. I'd highly encourage you, if you're new to this channel, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Zach Hesterberg, and all we talk about is how to exponentially grow your business. Usually, right now, we're really kind of focusing on paid events. And so if that's kind of your cup of tea, you like that idea, we have every single videos on Tuesdays. They're always focused on very strategic, tactical strategies you could go implement into your business to exponentially multiply your business. And then on Fridays, we have Faith Forward Friday videos. These are usually where we are unpacking the Bible. We're actually talking about a specific scripture from the Bible and talking about how that can actually be applied into how you could be showing up as a leader for your team, how you could be showing up as a mover and a shaker in the marketplace, how you could be using that scripture on how you're ultimately building your business in general. So once again, if that sounds like your cup of tea, I'd highly encourage you, wherever that subscribe button is on this channel, feel free, smash it. Even hit the good old post notifications if you're feeling a little spicy today. And then obviously, if you are a returning subscriber, I would say welcome on back. Do appreciate your support. And honestly, this channel, it's not about me, it's about you guys. Like I want to make sure that I'm continuing to provide content that's valuable and of use for you all. And if you've continued to come back and you're getting more fruit from this, I'd highly encourage you, share this with someone that you love. Share this with someone in your network that you know can actually get some value from it. That's one of the best ways that you can actually honestly love your network and love on people around you is by is ultimately just by giving them some fruit and giving them some free value as well. Treat others as you'd want to be treated as well. So anyway, that would be my call to action to you today, is go share this with someone that you know would really, really reap some fruit from this. So that's about all we have for you today. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, peace.